Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 and thank you, thank you, thank you. It's November 6th, 2019. This is Matthew. This is MattTv, Facebook Live. So, looking forward to this show this morning. George Woodworth joining me from Fredericton by phone here in a couple of moments. But first, I hope I have as much fun delivering the show as I did putting it together. So, here we go. Beautiful. It's absolute. There's not a cloud in the sky here on the south coast. The sun is just getting ready to come up. The color of the sky towards the east is like a pumpkin orange. It's the most beautiful. I'm so eagerly anticipating the sunrise this morning. Just 3 minutes ago in the backyard, I could still see stars. It's beautiful out here this morning. Looking for sunshine today. Probably going to get up to about 12 degrees today. That's the forecast. Rain moving in for Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So we are getting some weather. We're a couple days away from that. Looking at the weather back in the Woodstock area, it says it's going to be around 5 degrees. Good morning, Leslie, Mom. Welcome to the broadcast. Sunshine today back in the Woodstock area. Up to 5 degrees. But it might feel more like 1, getting down below the mercury at night. And it says right here on the AccuWeather that there are snow flurries. What other kind of flurries would they be? Some flurries in the forecast for Thursday morning. Is that what's cooking? Back on the East Coast, Simon McGinnis, 8 degrees, cloudy here in Newfoundland. Cool, man. I love getting weather updates from across the country. That's awesome. Okay, we've had a great stretch of weather out here. And so did the New England Patriots. The Patriots were 8-0 until this past Sunday when they lost to the Baltimore Ravens. They're now 8-1. All good things must come to an end, but I just quickly want to stay with the NFL for a moment. Patriots 8-1. The 49ers are still the only unbeaten team in the NFL. They're 8-0. They've scored 235 points. This Monday night, they're going to be hosting the Seattle Seahawks, who are 7-2, and they've actually scored more points at 248, but have given up more. So that's going to be a great Monday Night Football, November 11th, 5:15 p.m. kickoff from San Fran. Okay, going to be speaking with George Woodworth in a couple of moments by phone. Quickly, we're going to burn through this, something I like to call Just Google It. Just Google It. Spoof phone scammers. Now, they're pretending to be legitimate departments from Ottawa. Do not fall for the phone scammers. They're pretty sophisticated. You have been warned. And I'm wondering, in the comments section, in 2 or 3 sentences, can you describe a conversation that you might overhear sitting in a pub with a bunch of individuals who have just spent the whole day scamming other people? What would that conversation be like? Just Google it. Vancouver photographer Kathy Brown. Toronto Hospital has performed the world's first neurovascular surgery using robotics. Yes, just Google it. Electric cargo bikes happening in Vancouver, Montreal, and it was on the state November 6th. In 1991, a Canadian team extinguishes the last of 732 oil fires that were started by Iraqi troops at the end of the Gulf War. And that's a little section I like to call Just Google It. And again, observations, just stuff going on in my life, making it relatable to you. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I have my wife's phone in here. I'm going to be calling George Woodworth by phone. So the next voice that you hear will be Mr. George Woodworth. So it's live, so just hang tight. Will I dial the number? This is old school. And we'll have George on speakerphone, so. Okay, here we go. I haven't spoken with George in a long time, so I certainly appreciate him taking the time out of his morning. This is George Woodworth.
Hello.
Mr. Woodworth, how are you, my friend?
I am not too bad. Yourself?
I was just saying, it is an absolute stellar day out here. I'm looking at the eastern mountains, and the sun's just getting ready to come up, and it's just absolutely stellar. What's the weather like in Fredericton?
Bright.
Bright?
Bright. Very sunny day.
Oh, good, good.
been outside yet, so I'm not sure what the temperature is, but it's nice and clear.
Nice and clear. The calm before the storm.
Yeah.
Listen, so here's what we're going to do, George. You and I have been communicating back and forth the last couple of days. The first part of our chat is an opportunity for those watching the show who maybe have never heard of you. It's an opportunity for them to get to know you, and then we'll talk about what happened to you back in 2007, and then we'll end by giving your work a plug. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here we go. This is going to be like kind of a speed round. 7 topics that I pulled from your Facebook page. Here we go. The first one, your Facebook cover photo. It's a black and white, 5 gentlemen. Quickly, who are they? The year? What's the significance of that photo for you on your Facebook?
The guy in the middle holding the big chainsaw is my grandfather.
Okay.
And it was probably 1935. It's him and a crew of his men. They worked in forestry.
Okay.
Obviously. And I'm not sure who the other gentlemen are, but they're his work crew.
Okay. Was that in New Brunswick somewhere?
Yeah, it was. Okay. That was in back Tracy.
Back Tracy. I couldn't even find that on a map in New Brunswick.
it's like out Lake Paltoma Lake, Little Lake area.
Okay. Your last Facebook post was like 2 weeks ago. Do you find it's nice just to take a break from Facebook every once in a while?
Yeah. Yep. I haven't been pretty much on my Facebook this year. This year's just been a real wow. I've lost all the function in my left arm. I've been in the hospital since July 16th. My wife and I have decided to split up. Not relationship-wise, but we're going to live in separate places because her and I and a caregiver and my disability living under one roof has just been, well, shall we say, challenging ever since the get-go.
Well, for George, for those that are maybe watching the show for the first time, let's go back 12 years to 2007 and explain what happened.
Okay, sure. So I always wanted to. Ever since I was about 12 years old, I watched a video called "Where the Red Fern Grows." And it's about a little boy down south who gets a couple coon hounds and goes and starts hunting raccoons. So in 2005, Mom and I bought a special care home together, and we moved in the special care home next door. A guy named Gerald Logan had a coon hound, a blue tick hound, big dog, very powerful dog, and he literally has ticks of blue fur in his coat.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he stopped by I was always after him to take me out hunting raccoons. So he stopped by one Saturday afternoon and asked me if I wanted to go. Yep, there was a guy down the road having had a corn crop, and the raccoons were making a mess of it. So he picked me up about 10 p.m. And of course, you can't go hunting raccoons without drinking a bit.
That's in a manual somewhere, I think, isn't it?
It is coon hunting 101. Because it all makes sense to go out around in the dark, running around in the dark with a gun and a flashlight and having a beer.
It's a bad combination.
Well, it was, just one of those lining that last duck up for you to get hurt, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in the end, I ended up climbing up a tree. Branch broke off under my foot, and I landed on my back, and there was a rock under my neck. I'd fractured the back of my skull, and also fractured my C5, 6, and 7 vertebrae. They called the ambulance. The ambulance drove right out through the cornfield to get me, and I laid in the emergency room at the Chalmers Hospital for 10 hours. All the while, my function is getting less and less. Like first, I couldn't move my feet, then I couldn't move my legs, then I couldn't move my hips, then I couldn't move my chest. My arms went, and then they decided to send me to St. John.
Why the delay?
Well, they handle spinal cord injuries much different now. Now, if I had presented at the Emerge with those in that condition, they would have put me on ice, put me on a bed of ice, literally to cool my body down, pumped me full of anti-inflammatories, and immediately sent me to St. John, because that's the trauma center in New Brunswick for spinal cord injuries.
Okay.
And I probably would have been much less disabled than I am now.
And what do you have use of, George?
Currently, I have use of my right arm and wrist. I have no finger function in my right arm. My left arm has recently lost function due to nerve compression in my neck. I can move my head around, and I kind of work from my neck up plus my right arm.
Wow. Do you follow the science? And is there any news that you're hearing that has you excited for a long-term prognosis? Does that make sense?
I do believe that we are on the verge of a major breakthrough. There's so much going on in the research department. I went to a symposium in Vancouver a year and a half ago, and it was held at the Blundson Center, and there's just so much going on. Like we are, I just feel like we're on the verge of a breakthrough.
Okay.
Like they're stimming muscles with an array of electrodes in your lower spine, and that's bringing back leg function, and we're doing what's called FES, or functional electrical stimulation, and that's doing that causes what that means is you stim a muscle and make it work with an electrical current, at the same time while the person that's being stimmed tries to make that muscle work voluntarily.
Okay.
Doing those two things at the same time create nerve plasticity, which is the environment that a nerve needs to grow in. So you do that for like 6 to 12 months every day, like five or six times a week for 6 to 12 months, and you have a good chance of bringing that muscle back into voluntary function.
Just the amount of time and energy that you and others like you put into rehab, that's just got to be mentally exhausting. Like just that number, just that one exercise that you were talking about, 5 times a day or 5 times a week for 6 months. Like,
Yeah, you know, but to that amount of time and effort compared to the rest of your life with the working muscle is minuscule.
yes, good point. Good point. Here's some numbers, George. I just pulled this off the internet, so take it as you will. But they're saying that there's 86,000 Canadians, approximately, with spinal cord injuries. 1 in 3 Canadians will suffer a spinal cord injury before they're 65.
Wow.
And 4,300 new cases per year. And we see advertisements on TV, listen to it on the radio and print. Is society doing enough to prevent spinal cord injuries? I mean, there are the situations where, motor vehicle accidents but even falling, like we all have to take charge of our own movements, right? But is society doing enough to make people aware? Like, you can only tell someone to be careful so many times, right?
I'm a true believer in there are very few true accidents. I think that people make choices that affect the outcome of an activity they are doing or affect the activity of something that somebody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like automobile accidents, someone is speeding, someone isn't paying attention, someone is talking on their cell phone. People make choices that have consequences. I made a choice that night to climb a tree while I was drinking. I made a choice.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an accident. I made specific choices that had a specific outcome. I used to go around and talk to high school students through Parachute Canada about smart choices and stupid choices.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. It all comes down to personal choices. You've had a spinal cord injury, George, for 12 years.
Yep.
How much, and we'll wrap this up here. We'll give you a little plug about your business. But how have you changed, like mentally? Has your sense of humor changed in? Like, what has changed about George Woodworth over the last 12 years?
I've become more patient. If you are impatient with people who are around you caring for you, you get a lesser quality of care. So it's do unto others you have them do unto you. So I'm a much more patient person. It's not it didn't come naturally, because naturally I'm a go, get things done, hurry the heck up. But you have to treat your care team with kid gloves, or you don't have a care team.
Okay.
I'm a much better father, and I've actually talked to both of my boys about this. They're now 23 and 26, and I'm a much more patient father. I'm a much more involved father, and a much more understanding father, I think. And both of them have said that I'm a much better father than I was pre-injury.
Wow. I don't know what to say to that. That's just this whole chat, George, has just been so revealing, and I just appreciate you coming on here. You have no idea. This is how I like to start my day. Really, just chatting with a buddy of mine who's back in New Brunswick, and we had the technology, and for those that aren't watching it live, can listen to it later and go, "Hey, Matt was talking to George Woodworth. How cool is that?" But let's just 2 more things. Just give a plug. I love this on your Facebook page. Your Woodworth business. You're always open. So just talk about woodworthboards.com and just give your business a little bit of a plug.
I'm actually spending this winter trying to take my business and go commercial with it. I want to build. My plans are to build a small residence with a shop attached and 4 accessible apartment units.
Okay.
But I also want to build it semi off grid, so do solar panels on the roofs to provide power and feedback into the power grid as well. I want to. There's 10 different products that I make in my shop now.
Wow.
They are
Okay.
sliding boards or transfer boards that disabled people use to slide from their transfer from their bed to their chair to their car, chair to their shower seat, etc. An incline board that you stretch your Achilles tendon with. Pedal supports for physiotherapists to hold their patient's feet onto the pedal of an exercise bike.
Okay.
There's a set of nesting step stools. They're 4, 8, 12, and 16 inches high, and they're for a child to transfer from the floor onto each bench and then onto a chair, and so they go from the floor to the chair or reverse.
Okay.
There's a workout system that I've designed with rings on the wall with a therapy band and a set of cuffs that you put on your wrists, and then I also make a lap tray for people that are in chairs, to hold their. It's just basically turn your lap into your desk kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I didn't realize you made that much product. One final thing, George. And there's no way of me knowing this, but I wrote it down and I took a picture of it just in case I'm correct. Your Hotmail account. What is the F? What does the F stand for in GFW?
It's my middle name, Foster.
Foster. Ooh. I wrote down that it was either going to be Frederick or Francis.
Ha!
But you say it's Foster.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
George Foster Woodworth III.
Awesome stuff. Well, George Foster Woodworth III. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning, man. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All the best to you. I think of you often, man. I really do.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
It's a pleasure. Any time, really.
Yeah, like seriously, like every few months or whenever you want to jump on the show, that's what it's
Yep.
for. It's just to come on and have a conference call that other people can listen in on whenever they want.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, George. Have a good day,
Okay,
brother.
thanks, Matt.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
That was a blast. Okay, George Woodworth in the Fredericton area. He's just so inspirational. I just couldn't believe how much product he was making. Well, when he was going on about all the different products that he was making, I just for a moment thought about the scene in Forrest Gump when the guy's talking about how his mom can make all the different shrimp dishes. He just kept going on and on and on. Beautiful stuff. Love that guy. Love it. Okay, it's going to do it for me. I got to go to work. Go enjoy a beautiful Wednesday here on the South Coast. This is Wednesday. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, back in here Friday morning, 6:30 a.m. Pacific. Maybe I'll have a guest. Maybe it'll just be me rambling for a few moments. But definitely Friday night, 6 p.m. That's 10 o'clock. You can take a break from shoveling snow and come in and watch me talk with Brent Underhill. That's going to be a blast. Okay, Got to roll out of here. This is Matthew. This is Matt TV. Thank you for the live views. This is Matthew. This is MattTv. Now and always, from sea to sea.